Please take the time to do your own research and draw your own conclusions.
That's really the only part of this video I can recommend. His advice that you need to do your own research and draw your own conclusions. Because for the most part, his video is made up of falsehoods or very misleading information. He's insinuating a conspiracy that serves as a misdirection from why we were attacked. And for information about the motive for the 9/11 attack, you can click here to go to my channel page, where I feature many videos about 9/11. I still have videos about 9/11 featured on my channel page, because I've never forgotten 9/11. Looks like I've paid a price for that. I'll talk more about that at the end of this video. I just want to talk more about this video, which, as you can see, is monetized. Here's the very first thing he mentions, and it's wrong.
And draw your own conclusions. According to the General Accounting Office, over $60 million was allocated to investigate the Whitewater land deal, the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and other issues involving the indiscretions of Bill Clinton. But a mere $15 million was the most officials could muster to investigate the highest profile mass murder on American soil the world has ever seen.
The first falsehood is this notion that officials only spent $15 million on the investigation of the 9/11 attacks. $15 million was funding for the 9/11 Commission, but that's not the total amount of money spent by officials on investigating 9/11. I recommend this website, 911myths.com, which has a page about comparing costs. It says, if we were to add the primary investigation, for example, the FBI's Pent Bomb, then that would add considerably more. Pent Bomb is short for Pentagon Twin Towers bombing. It's the name that the FBI gave to their investigation into the 9/11 attacks. And as 9/11 Myths points out, the FBI says it was their largest investigation ever. So how much do you think that cost? So like I said, the one thing that this video gets right is the recommendation that you do your own research. And you have to with this video because there's so many misrepresentations of things and outright falsehoods. And as I started to point out, this guy uploaded his video over 3 months ago and it's still monetized. I'm not arguing it shouldn't be monetized. I'm saying, why are 100 of my videos on my channel demonetized? This is really unfair. This is an attack on legitimate journalism. I'm quoting the FBI, and yet that's too sensitive? There's no gory pictures. There's no violations of standards. All my videos could be broadcast on TV, according to FCC regulations. Meanwhile, I see thousands of videos on YouTube that can't be broadcast on TV, and yet they're all monetized. Every video about 9/11 on my channel that I put years of work into has been demonetized. Supposedly because the content is quote-unquote too sensitive. And I've been told in the YouTube forums that the demonetization is based on the title or keywords. And yet this video was uploaded June 8th. So how can this still be monetized 3 months later? Someone or something is responsible for removing my revenue on dozens and dozens of videos which are legitimate journalism, with clearly nothing too sensitive. Meanwhile, I see tons of videos monetized where they use the F word. You gotta be kidding. That can't be broadcast on TV. Yet my videos, about 100 of them, are too sensitive. You can see the links in the video description for information about the primary motive for the 9/11 attack, which was anger at U.S. support of Israel. I made that point crystal clear from day one of my channel. In fact, this is one of the most important videos on my channel, what motivated the 9/11 hijackers, where I show the primary motive and the other motives. So I shouldn't be demonetized. I'm quoting an FBI agent as far as the motive for the most serious attack in American history. And I can't report that, but meanwhile, a video like this, peddling falsehoods and misrepresentations, is allowed to be monetized. And I've also in videos pointed out a pattern of deception and lies about the motive, where Thomas Friedman of the New York Times outright lied when he claimed that bin Laden never really focused on Israel until after 9/11. I pointed out in my videos how the two top commissioners admitted that their concern about protecting the policy of U.S. support of Israel dictated what they put in the report and what they left out. So if you look at original testimony during the 9/11 hearings and then compare that to what got into the 9/11 report, you'll discover that there are many omissions of the mentions of Israel. Philip Zelikow in this video really lays out the case as far as motivation for the 9/11 attack. But several references to Israel didn't make it into the 9/11 report. Many people in positions of power misdirected the public away from why we were attacked. Some of those very same people helped plant the seeds of the 9/11 conspiracy nonsense. For example, Dan Rather not only neglected to mention the motive of anger at Israel when he was reading from the Reuters newswire that morning.
Followers of bin Laden warned 3 weeks ago that they would carry out what he called, and I quote him, a huge and unprecedented attack on U.S. interests. For whatever that may or may not be worth.
But he also then oddly fixated on a building that just happened to be next to the targeted towers. He became fascinated with World Trade Center 7.
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself. Describe that. Now we go to videotape the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. For the third time today.
His amazement is particularly stupid because he himself reported that this building was one of the buildings that was in danger of collapsing.
We reported some time ago that 2 other buildings in the World Trade Center complex were in danger of collapsing. One of those buildings has collapsed.
Great deal of concern at that time from the firemen that building number 7 was going to collapse, building number 5 was in danger of collapsing, and there is so little they can do to try to fight the fires in these buildings because the fires are so massive and so much of the buildings continue to fall into the street. It's been a catastrophe in its own right, Dan. The building has been on fire all day since the initial attack. About an hour ago, I was down there with a CBS News camera crew, and we were talking to firefighters and police officers. Building number 7 was completely involved in flame. Flames were shooting out of the building. Large panes of glass were falling into the street. The firefighters explained that there was nothing they could do to try to put the fire out because it was just simply far too dangerous, and they warned us an hour ago that the building might collapse, and indeed that is what has come to pass.
For several hours that afternoon, firemen were predicting that World Trade Center 7 would collapse due to the fires. I'll put information about that in the video description. So please subscribe to this channel and send it to others and tell them that my channel is being treated unfairly. Look how this channel is allowed to monetize what is essentially garbage, but meanwhile real reporting gets financially undermined.